Welcome back to Crochet 101, and today we are going to be chatting over the crab stitch. While the crab stitch is a great one for going around the borders of blankets, I also like to use it to clean up the edges of tiny projects like this one. So the crab stitch is what I use to make the border or the top little rim on this coffee mug. And then I also used it to clean up the edges of this overall to just give them a more finished appearance. So let's get into it. For our example, I'm going to be using it to clean up the edge of this little lemon peel stitch cardigan that I made. And so I have chained into my project with the yarn that I want to use to make my border, my crab stitch. And what you do with the crab stitch is you're actually going to work backwards. So we are going to take our hook, we're going to go back into the stitch behind where I chained into. We're going to go in, we're going to pull up a loop, we're going to yarn over, and pull through the two. And that was our first crab stitch. So let's go into the next stitch. Again, we go into the next stitch, we yarn over, we grab a loop and we pull it up, we yarn over and we pull through two. And there you have your next crab stitch. And you can just continue to go in that fashion, going backward into the next stitch behind, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through two. And continue this all the way around your piece. A few additional tips for you when you're going around a corner, because this is kind of a finishing step and you are not worried about your stitch count. Sometimes it's nice to add a few extra stitches into the corner to make it flow a little bit more smoothly. So you can see that was my corner stitch, but I'm going to put another crab stitch into my corner stitch, and that will help kind of guide me around this corner. And on top of that, you can put crochet stitches wherever you want, including into these kind of like raw sides where you don't really have stitches. You just have to force your way in. So I'm just going to find the next spot, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. Once again, I'm going to find this next spot. So my next row, there should be a little break there depending on what kind of stitch you're using. And you can continue to flow with your crab stitch, just kind of making your own rows as you go along. So I finished going all the way around my piece, and my last tip would be the way I like to finish this off and weave my end in is I like to make sure that this was my active piece right here, kind of gets worked backward into where I began my crab stitch. And that's going to bring this all together into a much smoother circle. So you can't really tell as much where you started with your crab stitch. So there we have our ends woven in, and now we have pieces with a much more finished, finalized, and clean look to them.